Please be seated and good morning. Wow, we are too many. We are very many, and this is great. That shows how important what we discuss here this morning is. Excellencies, heads of delegations, Secretary Kerry, the founder of our Ocean Conference, and all the senior leaders from governments, private sector, civil society, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends. This morning I stand here on behalf of the President and our host, for those who are coming from outside this country. President William Ruto would have wanted to be here in person for this session, but is unable to do so because of scheduling constraints, but will be joining us before we leave this conference. So perhaps as we go towards closure tomorrow, he will be here physically, not just to interact with us, but also to be able to restate the commitment of this country and indeed the global community to the subject matter that brings us here today. And so because I have explained in what capacity I stand here, I'll be very limited and careful in the things I say. But allow me to just reaffirm what colleagues who have spoken here have said, how important the oceans are to the survival of our planet. And I think we all appreciate that science tells us that the survival of our planet and the survival of humanity has a very close and permanent relationship with the health of our oceans. And therefore, for me, our gathering here is also an opportunity for us to reflect on the pressure that exists and that continues to be exerted on the oceans, and pressure that is human-made. And if it is human-made pressure, it means it can be managed, can be controlled, and the human activity that has exerted environmental pressure on our oceans can be addressed for the reversal of some of the effects that are undermining the health of our oceans. And therefore, we must appreciate how unsustainable the situation as it is today is, and work towards implementation of a sustainability program. And as just been said by Secretary John Kerry and other speakers, moving to action and impact. Kenya has been associated with the global debates on the oceans for quite a bit of time. 50 years ago, Kenya took a very, very active role in the debates and the conversations that eventually culminated in the adoption of the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea in 1982 in the Montego Bay Conference. And that legal framework has helped to some extent to mitigate against anthropogenic pressures on the ocean, with commitments around pollution and also the management of the common spaces of the ocean, the common heritage of mankind and spaces that are beyond the national jurisdiction of any state. Excellencies, therefore, Kenya continues to participate as a member of the global community in these discussions. Fast forward in 2018, together with Japan and Canada, we hosted the Conference on Sustainable Blue Economy in Nairobi, co-hosted. In 2022, together with Portugal, we co-hosted in Lisbon the second UN conference on the oceans. And therefore, we are happy to be part of this ongoing conversation. And I must say, therefore, the creation of a special ministry responsible for the blue economy and maritime affairs is not an accident, it's not an afterthought, but is a continuation of a long journey that this country has traveled in terms of focusing our attention as we look towards contributing to a healthier and safer environment and the oceans. I must commend, as Secretary Kerry, the founder of this initiative that brings us here today, and I hope this edition will meet to the standards of the dreams and aspirations of the founders of this initiative and will build on the successes of previous conferences to strengthen cooperation and accelerate implementation, to create synergy, and also to make sure that we promote policy coherence, boost scalability of action, and secure the positive impact that we look for. It has been said that we need to take care of our marine biodiversity and also manage the effects of climate change and protect sensitive marine ecosystems. But I don't think it is my space to speak about that, because I know there are enough scientists and enough professionals in this field who can state this matter a little clearer. Allow me to say that in terms of situating what our obligation as this generation is on this subject matter, it has been said that we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. Instead, we borrow it from our children. What this means, friends, is that we have an obligation as the current generation to return the ocean to our children cleaner, richer, and more resilient than we found it. That is how profound our obligation is. And ladies and gentlemen, I started by situating the context, which was that President Ruto would have wanted to physically open this conference because of its importance and its place, not just for Kenya, for this region, but also for the world. But again, it was not possible. Therefore, President Ruto, as a message for this session, even as we wait for him to come and join us physically before the end of this conference. Allow me, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, to leave it there for now and then request that we listen for 5 minutes the message of His Excellency President William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, on occasion of this official opening of the 11th Oceans Conference and the high-level session that will be following immediately after this. Wapi makofi ya rais? Oh, sorry, I spoke in Swahili. I just said, Excellencies, let us listen to His Excellency the President. Thank you very much. I was not trying to interpret the Minister Joho's proverb, and you cannot delegate upwards, Minister. So if you have to delegate your responsibility, it has to be maybe to the next person. Am I right? Please. Where is the video?
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, investors, partners, and friends of the ocean. Hamjambo. Karibuni Kenya. Karibuni Mombasa. It is my honor to welcome you to the 11th Our Oceans Conference, the first ever held on African soil. Our theme is simple yet profound. Our ocean, our heritage, our future. For Kenya, the ocean is not a distant blue line on a map. It is who we are. Picture the shores of Mombasa before dawn. A fisherman pushes his boat into the tide. A trader traces routes her grandfather once sailed. A business owner inland depends on goods arriving through the port of Mombasa. A taxi driver hundreds of kilometers away relies on fuel that lands there. Different lives, different journeys, all connected by the ocean. Their stories remind us of a simple truth. The ocean is not only the livelihood of those who live beside it, it shapes the lives of millions who may never see it. Every container lifted at the port of Mombasa supports livelihoods in Nairobi, Kisumu, Kampala, Kigali, and beyond. As the gateway to landlocked nations across East and Central Africa, it connects millions of people to trade, opportunity, and growth. Our ocean powers industries, feeds families, protects our shores, and helps safeguard the planet. This is our shared inheritance. Yet today, that inheritance is under strain from warming seas, plastic pollution, illegal fishing, and the silent disappearance of life beneath the waves. Kenya is already at work. We are restoring mangroves, cleaning our waters, reforming fisheries, and strengthening ocean governance. We are opening the door to blue finance, science and innovation, so that conservation creates opportunity. To our partners, I have 3 requests. First, help us protect 30% of the ocean by 2030 with the financing, technology, enforcement that meaningful protection. Second, invest in us. Bring capital that builds industries, dignifies work, and restores the ecosystems on which prosperity depends. Third, stand with us against illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing, the theft that robs coastal communities, undermines legitimate enterprise, and threatens maritime security. We must also be honest about financing. The ocean cannot be protected on promises alone. Africa cannot be asked to shoulder the greatest burden of protecting what sustains the entire world. There is no better place for this gathering than Mombasa, a city that has connected peoples, cultures, and commerce across the Indian Ocean for more than 1,000 years. So let this conference inspire more than dialogue. Let it deliver new partnerships, new investment, real protection, and measurable action. When future generations ask what we did at this moment, let us be able to say we chose action over delay, partnership over division, and stewardship over neglect. The measure of our success will not be in what we say this week. It will be what we build together after we leave. Let us seize this moment. Asante sana. Karibu Kenya. Karibu Mombasa.
With the President having sent us his message, it is now my singular honor on his behalf once more to welcome all of you who have come from outside Kenya and to declare the 11th Ocean Conference officially open. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, and also His Excellency for that wonderful opening speech. I'll request that you take our seats. His Excellency, the Deputy President, has been gracious enough to accord us a few more minutes to listen to special envoys, so allow me at this point to invite back the Cabinet Secretary for Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs to come and run that session. Karibu sana Waziri.
Your Excellency, we want to thank you very much for those very positive sentiments, and we're looking forward to turn that into action. Without much ado, Your Excellency, with your permission, I would like now to invite our dear friend, His Excellency Salah Ahmed Jama, Deputy Prime Minister of the Federal Republic of Somalia, to make some pronouncements.